I will now be linking these behaviours to two top athletes, Mike Tyson and a heavyweight boxer and tennis player Serena Williams, and what behaviour best fits these two athletes' personality. Starting with Mike Tyson, who was brought up in a very rough part of Brooklyn, New York, and became the youngest heavyweight boxing champion in the world in 1986. He was brought up without a father figure in the home, and his family really struggled financially. The neighbourhood Brownsville, where he grew up, was known for having high crime rates. He was often the target for bullying. To combat this, he started his own style of street fighting, which then turned into criminal activity, where he started to get involved in gang activity. His whole childhood was surrounded by violent behaviour, death, and general hardship, and was arrested over 30 times. Boxing can be seen as a very violent sport and could be due to his background and how he was brought up, which would explain why he is so good at his sport. He has had to be able to fight his whole life growing up to be able to survive. For this reason, I think the best personality trait theory which best fits Mike Tyson is the interactionist theory, but also the observational theory. The interactionist theory states that traits are triggered by environment that someone is in. It is both a combination of trait and social learning. Starting with the reasons why I think he links to social learning theory, this theory is stating that personality is changeable through adapting to the environment, meaning that it is unstable. This is done by watching other people's behaviour and actively copying what they are doing. To be certain that the behaviour is being copied, it is vital that the persons pay attention to what the persons are copying are doing. They must also have the fine motor skills to reproduce the movement and physically be able to copy the other person's behaviour. So an example of this would be, he has had to watch and copy other people's violent behaviour for years in fighting and gang situations. Therefore, you could argue that it's almost second nature for him when it comes to fighting at competitions. If he was brought up with a stable family household in a less violent part of New York where he wasn't involved in gang fights and gangs, it could be argued that he may not be as good as a boxer as it was on the streets fighting where he got into boxing. However, to counterpoint this, he has stated that by nature I am wild. We can infer from this that his nature and trait to act the way he does. This links into the trait theory. This theory is about looking at a person's traits which they had from birth, for example, aggression, and how this personality trait stays with them throughout their lifetime. So although boxing can be seen as an aggressive sport, there has been times where he's had violent behaviour outside the ring and has arguably taken his aggressive behaviour too far. For example, the multiple times he's been arrested and been in street fights. It could be also that he has learnt some of his behaviour from the environment. It is also just part of his personality to have aggressive qualities. Not only this, but the interactionist theory could explain his behaviour. Specifically looking at level 3, this is situation-related behaviour. This level identifies how people change their behaviour to fit in specific situations. It could be argued that now, because he has a role of being the best heavyweight boxer and this persona to live up to and this big character, therefore it could be argued that he's taken on this role and his behaviour has ended up changing because of it. Moving on to Serena Williams, comparing Mike Tyson to Serena, she was born in Michigan and moved to California with her family. Her father was her coach and her sister from the age of 4, and he was determined to see his youngest 2 daughters succeed. His family relocated to Compton, a place with high crime rate and gang activity. Her father did this on purpose to show them the ugly possibility of life if they did not work hard and get an education. The first comparison between Mike Tyson and Serena is a father figure. Mike did not have this figure to guide and push him to succeed. He went through the hard life that Serena's dad was trying to make her avoid in order to become the world's youngest heavyweight boxer champion. I would also link Serena Williams to the social learning theory to begin with. The reason why I think this is because the norms and values she has presented to her by her father. Because Serena's dad was training her for such a young age, the values around tennis and life in general would have been drilled into her head and is the norm for her. She has copied her father's behaviour because she respects him and sees him as a role model. And part of this theory states that you're most likely to copy someone's behaviour that you look up to and value and what they do. Also, linking that idea to Mike, he would have values and look up to the other males in the gang as role models, and therefore he's going to copy their behaviour. However, it could be argued that Serena Williams has type A personality. This links to the trait personality theory called the narrow band theory. To have a type A personality, you're said to have lack of patience, strong urge for competition, high desire to achieve, and able to work quickly, but can be proven to get easily stressed. Some of these characteristics are key to successful, especially in sports, like strong urge for competition and high desire to achieve. This could explain why she has been so motivated to work hard and achieve her goals from such a young age. It is just part of her personality. Finally, linking Serena Williams to interactionist theory, it could be argued that because she has been so successful from a young age, she's taken on this role of being a top tennis player all her life. Therefore, this may have changed her personality without even realising it to fit into this role.